Hi, and welcome to the Strategic Step Forward presentation for the company Accompany. I'm Michael Hendricks, and today, Nazanin Tandravi, Christopher O'Keefe, and Emily Horwath will be presenting on Accompany. First, let's take a look at the company Accompany. Accompany is a proprietary data platform that scours billions of pages on the internet and uses artificial intelligence and machine learning to create the most up-to-date profiles in the world for hundreds of millions of people and tens of millions of companies. Accompany works in three distinct steps. Step 1, an automated scaled ingestion platform. The company creates a database of profiles for hundreds of millions of people and tens of millions of companies that have been created automatically by artificial intelligence that scrapes information from the internet. The goal of the platform is to give the user the information on the John Smith he or she knows and not the 10,000 other John Smiths. The second step of Accompany is when the technology analyzes the user's calendar, context, and other communication patterns to determine which people are most important. The platform then tailors updates and news feeds based on the individual importance of each contact. The system is constantly learning and reprioritizes contacts constantly. Step 3 is when a company separates big events from small ones. If there's a sudden spike in news on a contact, a company will differentiate that from a single news report. Accompany offers many features, which include the ability to search profiles based on a number of factors such as industry, title, location, gender, and age. The platform offers business insights such as stock prices and mentions in the news. Accompany was founded by Amy Chang in Los Altos, California in 2013. They currently run a satellite office in Portland, Oregon. The platform is billed as your chief of staff and is currently in beta, but you can request an invitation on the website. They currently have 64 employees and have raised over $40 million in funding from Cowboy Ventures, CRV, Iconic Capital, and Ignition Partners. Accompany's mission is to create the richest, most real-time profiles in the world for hundreds of millions of people and tens of millions of companies. Unlike their main competition, LinkedIn and Facebook to some respects, Accompany's mission is built on business-facing and does not connect people or companies. A company's goal is to increase the volume and specificity of content that is tailored to the individual based on his or her preferences. A company's main advantages are that its AI-driven algorithm that automatically creates and updates profiles. According to a company's website, only 54% of Fortune 500 CEOs have profiles on LinkedIn, whereas 100% of the same CEOs have profiles on Accompany. A few other features that it does have is that its profiles are always up to date because of the artificial intelligence that scours the internet. It allows users to also sign up and create their own profile to fill in any gaps, and it also imports contacts that are never deleted.
Now for the industry analysis. As an introduction, Accompany is marketed as a social relationship manager application. This is different than other industries because it's not technically in the social media industry. It is a standalone platform built to help executives manage their relationships. So in doing the industry analysis, we looked at the social media industry as a point to start analyzing Accompany. In the social media industry, Accompany has a lot of competition. But since, as I mentioned, it's not technically part of this industry, it's a standalone product, this is for discussion. Facebook, Snapchat, and Instagram are all competition for Accompany. So how is Accompany different than social media? The purpose of Accompany is to manage your social contacts with the help of Google Analytics and artificial intelligence. Accompany then links to your contacts in your phone and email, and then aggregates the information to help develop trends and give you information about your network. For example, if you're traveling to Chicago for a conference, you can have Accompany help you find your contacts into Chicago to network with while you're there. This is a quote from the CEO of Cisco, Chuck Robbins, and it states, "Accompany is invaluable. It has become the one app I can't live without." As you can see in our industry analysis, we focused on the executives that are making Accompany popular and growing in name recognition. A company's AI technology provides information beyond LinkedIn and Facebook. So it is more than just a social media site. The CEO of a company stated, an executive should never have to walk into a meeting unprepared because they can use her application in order to learn more about the meeting attendees, to do research on the people before the meeting. In doing the industry analysis, these are some of the Fortune 500 companies that are using Accompany and have their executives using it, such as Business Insider, Forbes, Cisco, also Fortune itself, and the New York Times and the Wall Street Journal. As you can see, the industry that Accompany is really focusing on is that executive class of people that most part of the corporations. Accompany also has been featured in numerous articles and news, including in Southwest, Mary Claire, and the Silicon Valley Business Journal. Again, really targeting their clientele base and their industry, which is the executives. Lastly, a brief overview. The industry analysis, we touched on the 5 forces, and we'll go into this more in our analysis and the tools, but the barriers to industry, the supplier power, the threats of substitutes, the buyer power, and the degree of rivalry. Next, we're going on to the analysis and tools.
Next, we will use several tools to explore a company's position in the social networking website industry. The first tool is Porter's 5 Forces. The company faces high internal rivalry up against Facebook, LinkedIn, and Twitter. These rivals boast large user bases, and Facebook alone holds 72% of the market share. Threat to entry is low to moderate because it is difficult for newcomers to acquire a large and active user base, which is necessary for a company to stay relevant and to generate revenue. Substitute products mirror internal rivalries with Facebook and LinkedIn, and specifically the employment-based networking. Complementary products could be the same as substitutes in a company's case. Suppliers include data processing and hosting services, and also telecommunication, networking, equipment manufacturing. These are the industries that function in the background of consumer and business-facing social media websites. Buyers in this industry include advertisers that buy up virtual space to reach large user bases. Lastly, everyday users are also important buyers in this industry as they account for indirect revenue sales. The second analysis tool we used was that of coopetition, which focuses on opportunities to increase profits through cooperative relationships. A company could partner with suppliers to pilot new technology or programs. In exchange, these suppliers and a company could benefit from experimenting with cutting-edge technology. Distributors in this industry are actually synonymous with suppliers. A great example of coopetition with competitors is Amazon's marketplace. A company could likewise partner with sellers and competing sellers and potentially expand its user base by adopting a similar model. More likely, however, is a licensing or acquisition plan focusing on a company's artificial intelligence. Substitutes or rivals could transform into complementers via partnerships, licensing deals, or mergers and acquisitions. Complementers also include email-based marketing companies that could drive users to a company's website. The third tool we used was the 5 C's of marketing, which helps to identify key considerations. This tool is further enhanced by using SWOT analysis, which falls under the second C of company. The first C is customer. Advertisers are very important customers in the industry as they generate the lion's share of the revenue. However, before advertisers would be interested in selling on a website, a large user base is crucial. The second C, as mentioned earlier, is company, and we use the SWOT tool to analyze the company, and I'll unpack that on the next slide. Competition is the third C, and as far as a company is concerned, the main competition comes from LinkedIn and Facebook. LinkedIn is the most similar type of competitor, focusing on business connections. The competition maintains their edge by retaining a massive user base that generates revenue for ad-based sales. In fact, 90% of industry revenue is driven by advertisements. And now for the SWOT analysis. A company's strengths include its artificial intelligence platform that is used to integrate all information so it's current, accurate, and constantly updated. A company's weaknesses include that it is a small startup with limited user base, reach, and market share. Opportunities include the ability to work with Facebook and LinkedIn in order to take advantage of their economy of scale and network externalities. Threats could include incumbents such as Facebook and LinkedIn blocking a company's entrance into the industry. For example, Facebook might respond to a company's platform by using its money to create a platform of its own. So based on the preceding evaluation, the following detailed corporate strategy is designed to allow a company to grow its customer and user base, diversify revenue streams, and reduce costs in order to generate sustainable profitability in this industry.
Hello everyone, my name is Chris O'Keefe and I'm going to be discussing the corporate strategy for a company. There are two primary objectives. The first is to move the organization out of its beta phase and become a publicly traded organization. The second is to position a company to generate revenue. The competitive advantages for the company include its proprietary algorithm, which enables it to pull a multitude of information from various sources in order to strengthen its relationships between its users and other individuals within the business world. A company is also free to use, which gives it a substantial advantage over competitors such as LinkedIn's premium account. And finally, a company has a built-in dashboard which enables it to clearly demonstrate its value it has to its customers. In order to formulate an effective strategy, we utilized the STP methodology where we looked at optimal segmentation, positioning, the target audience, as well as the optimal scope. In order to sustain a company's competitive advantage, rather than competing directly with other organizations within this space, we instead recommend that a company position itself to pursue mutually beneficial partnerships where it will engage in win-win agreements. For example, a company will link to different websites such as LinkedIn or Facebook, and in return, those companies will also have advertisements, which when users click on these advertisements, it will generate revenue and will also result in increasing the user base. As another component of these agreements, we would also recommend that a company ask organizations such as LinkedIn if they can utilize part of their IT infrastructure rather than expanding what a company is currently using. It will likely be cheaper to essentially piggyback on what LinkedIn and Facebook are currently using. And in doing so, this will result in an economies of scale which will decrease the production costs for a company. In addition, a company can further increase its user base as well as its standing within the business community through email-based marketing. And it can further drive its revenue through selling aggregated data to marketing firms as well as placement organizations and corporate recruiters, and further augment those sales through strategically bundling. In order to bolster a company's brand, it's going to be very important that a company clearly articulates the value it is demonstrating to its users, as well as analyzing the data that is coming in. What trends are they seeing? What is going really well? What is not going really well? And also further increasing those findings through soliciting feedback directly from its users. Lastly, it's very important that a company remains flexible. It really shouldn't focus specifically on this particular niche and not be open to pursuing additional opportunities. It needs to be able to be flexible and dynamic in order to position itself for long-term growth. It can do so through appointing an innovation officer internally. It's also going to be very important after this plan is implemented for them to implement a dashboard which will monitor key metrics such as the timeline to exiting the beta phase, the total number of users, profiles, and corporate partners, as well as the amount of revenue being generated versus their projections, and lastly, the value of its data. The executive team, managers of the functional areas, as well as the board of directors will be tasked with monitoring this dashboard. In terms of contingencies, this is an incredibly competitive space. So despite the fact that a company has a great service it's offering its customers, it's reasonable to expect that it's going to be pretty challenging for a company to remain successful by itself. And so for that reason, most likely what will be the most effective long-term strategy is for a company to continue to pursue its relationships it has with its competitors and further horizontally integrate through being acquired. Thank you.